going up. Is it better to wait, or has it stabilized? 437, 439, I see. 440. What do you feel? Should we continue? I can't hear you, Shri Sel.
I think we should, sir. So people will join in, and we have the YouTube stream link. If required, we can share that link to them again.
Okay. So firstly, think back to a year ago, or perhaps even a little more than a year ago, to March of last year, April of last year, when the reality of COVID really hit this country and the world very hard. At that time, the truth is we were all clueless. I remember standing out in the balcony and banging the kitchen utensils because the government had asked us to do it, to stand in fellowship with all the healthcare workers. And there was a great degree of nervousness and fear because no one knew what this COVID, what havoc COVID might wreak, might create in the whole world. And at that time, there were no vaccines either. So we were all completely exposed, completely naked. And starting in a very small way, COVID began to increase. And at that time, as an organization, we had to take some difficult decisions. It's not that we had all the answers in front of us. The future was very uncertain. And I used to wonder, I'm being very frank and transparent, what is going to happen in the next few months, in the next 6, 9, 12 months, maybe 18 months. And it is at that time that I said, and I still continue to believe, at that time I said, look, the crisis is a reality and we must face it. We must not ignore it. As Vivekananda said, you have to face the brute. You can't ignore it or pretend it isn't there. But the question for each one of us is, can this crisis somehow be turned into an opportunity for all of us in Agastya? And with that in mind, we came up with a vision for blended learning, online, digital. Sony and his team, with help from all the regions, put together the Explore, Play, Learn modules. We helped the children see how their homes could become a little bit of a laboratory. So we combined online, digital with hands-on learning. All the schools were closed. The mobile labs came to a standstill. The science centers came to a standstill. But despite all that, Agastyians, all the teachers and instructors and content developers and IMTs and managers, everyone rose to the occasion big time to bring about a revolution in the way we teach, in the way Agastya's beneficiaries learn, children, school teachers. So it's not that we had a formula in front of us. We didn't know exactly what we were going to do, although we had a vision for blended learning. But what we had, which is even more important than the formula with the ideas, was the spirit of Agastyians. What is that spirit? It is, if you like, a warrior spirit. And when I say it's not a warrior who goes and kills people on the battlefield, it is the notion of a warrior who doesn't run away from battle, however difficult the challenges, whatever the odds might be, right? The yodha ka bhavna, the warrior spirit, which means stand and face reality. Find ways of solving the problem. Do not panic. Do not panic, whatever the situation might be. Be brave and courageous. You know, there is a Russian saying, even a bullet fears the brave. So being brave and courageous is very important. Be helpful to others to the extent you can help people. Bend over backwards to help others. These are some of the qualities. And be optimistic that we will fight the battle. We will win the battle. Will the battle be difficult? Yes. Will the battle test my ultimate abilities as a human being? Maybe. But that is the warrior spirit. That is why we are here in Agastya. Not to have an easy time in life that anyone can do. And even if you wanted it, life is never easy. Life is a constant struggle. So Agastya's strength, Agastyan's spirit, the warrior spirit, is really what made us in phase 1 come out of a major crisis in which so many organizations suffered. It's not that we did not feel pain. We did, as I said. You all had to make sacrifices. But look back in the last 12 months, and if you see, while many donors reduced their funding to Agastya, some even stopped because they had their own problems and difficulties. Many other donors continued giving money. They allowed us to repurpose the money. And because all of you responded so innovatively, what happened after 1 year through an unprecedented crisis? We spent a lot less money because we had a lot less money, but we reached almost as many, if not more, children than before in terms of unique children. In terms of exposures, probably as much as the previous year, if not more. Now that, I would say, my friends, bhaiyon aur behnon, was a tremendous achievement by the organization during a period of intense crisis. Now today in India, and therefore in Agastya, the crisis in many ways seems to be even more intense. I don't need to tell you about the numbers of people who've been infected, the fatality rate, people dying, and so on. It is horrible. That's the reality. But just think, everybody in the world expected that what we are going through today in India probably should have happened last year. Nobody expected that India would go up to 90,000 cases per day and then come down to 9,000. In fact, people were amazed, they were surprised. The hospital beds were going vacant. Nobody expected that. Now, whatever the reasons for that, the good, the bad, whatever, just imagine if what we are going through today had happened last year. Because that's what the world expected. That's what America went through. They expected India to go through that. Last year, when there were no vaccines, last year, when there was much less information about how to treat yourself sitting at home, just imagine how much worse that problem would have been had this happened last year. I'm not justifying anything, anybody's policies. That's not the purpose of this meeting. All I'm saying is, in some ways, we might have avoided an even bigger disaster. Think about it. I'm not saying you should agree with me. I'm just sharing my own thoughts. With no vaccines, just imagine what the panic would have been. At least today, we know all the bad news, right? But let's look at some of the positives. What are the positives? India is one of the largest, if not the largest, manufacturer of vaccines. Now, is it enough? No. Should it be 4 times as much as we are producing? Probably. But at least we have that manufacturing capacity. It is not enough for the size of population that we have, but it is significantly more. We have probably done about 160 million doses or more. Now, if we want to reach at least 40% of our population, eligible population for the vaccine, we probably have to have 1 billion doses or close to that. We're at about 160. Given current production and the expected ramp up, we might reach 40, even 50% of the eligible population by October. And if in that period, the infection rate stabilizes or begins to come down, then we will get some breathing time. And we will be able to lick this problem. So that's the overall environment. While you hear all the negative news, which I don't want to deny, think of also the positives. What could have been, the many bullets that we actually have dodged, we have escaped from. Okay? And why I'm saying this is because your mindset is very important. See, the same person faced with a problem, one person says the glass is half full, the other says the glass is half empty. What do you want to be? I don't need to tell you. The scientists have proved it, the medical practitioners have proved it, that your health, physical health, depends a lot on how you think here. If you think positive, if you show courage and bravery, there is less likelihood, less that you will fall ill. Not from COVID, but in general. It affects your immune system. Now, there's so many social media messages. This is not right, that is not right. Yesterday, somebody told me, women below 30 should not take Covaxin because it leads to problems. I called a doctor to find out, a very reputable doctor. He said, does the person know what they're talking about? When Covishield was launched, everyone said, oh, don't take it because blood clot problem. Is anyone talking about that today? And he said, tomorrow they will say Covishield also has this problem. And 2 weeks from now or a month from now, no one will talk about it. So one of the things I recommend you do, because I'm doing it myself, is shut out all this noise. Because this noise isn't going to help you. If you know a decent doctor, you have his or her advice, go by that advice. All these social media players who keep circulating negative news, what difference is it going to make to you to know that? Is it going to affect your decision making based on hearsay and what somebody on the street is saying? I'm not saying don't read the news or listen to the news, but learn to filter. Ask yourself, is khabar mein kuch mere liye fayda hai? If it is not actionable, what is the point of hearing all this negative stuff? So spreading fear is something a lot of people like to do. There are many people who have a negativity bias, who love to come and tell you some bad news. Media loves to do that. Oh, did you hear yahan pe ye hua? Oh, did you hear wahan pe wo hua? Are, hua to sahi. In this crisis, how is it going to affect me? I'm fighting a battle, I'm in the middle of the battlefield, and you want to come and whisper in my ear ki Something happens somewhere, when the enemy is in front of me, it's going to distract me. So shut out negative noise. Now, as far as Agastya is concerned, I want to tell you, there is a saying in English, an idle mind is a devil's workshop. Right? An idle mind is a devil's workshop. So don't keep your mind idle. Keep it occupied with some positive activity. Jo bhi hai. It could be teaching a child science on the phone. It could be doing an activity at home, cooking, maybe drawing on a piece of paper, helping your son or daughter with something, or your wife or husband. Stay occupied. Don't let your mind wander and get into this negative frame, because your negative frame will influence the people around you. They will begin to get negative, and then it gets out of control. So smile, be positive. Now, many people in Agastya have contracted COVID, and many people have recovered from it. Friend of mine in Bombay, he and his wife, my wife was talking to them. We didn't know because he wasn't picking up his phone for the last 1 week. It turns out they both had COVID. Now, they took the extreme step of taking care of themselves. And he says the secret was they drank a hell of a lot of water. They didn't go anywhere. Became okay. So there are many, many positive stories. Okay? So develop, if you want to develop a bias, develop a positive bias. I'm not saying ignore the news, but learn to filter the news. As far as Agastya is concerned, we are committed as an organization to achieving our Agastya 2.0 vision. Remember that. It doesn't matter what the situation is, we are committed to achieving our vision. There may be a few delays, productivity might drop a little bit, especially during these times. That's okay. Don't get stressed out because of this. We are not here to add stress to you, right? I'm only saying stay busy because that will reduce your mental stress. Have meetings with other colleagues. Discuss issues. Discuss Agastya issues. Come up with new ideas. Keep a diary. Do whatever it takes to stay busy and productive at the personal and professional level. Don't worry, we are here. We have started under Nagesh. We are going to set up an Agastya COVID helpline to see whatever little help we can offer our employees across India. There is also an engagement committee, an idea that Sri Sale came up with, about how to do things to keep people engaged. It's very, very, very important. We have a brotherhood and a sisterhood. We are a family. So stay confident, stay brave, be courageous. Don't do silly things. By courageous, I'm not saying step out on the street without wearing a mask. That is stupidity. That's not courage. Absolutely not. Take every safety precaution. Err on the side of caution. Have a backup to a backup if you need. Do all that. I'm saying the spirit, the warrior spirit. Look within yourself, you will find it. And I'm telling you, we will look back, just as I said last year, we will look back and say, hey, we came through a major crisis. We can say that of what we achieved in the last 12 to 14 months. Same way, it's unfortunate we have to face another crisis, but that is life sometimes. We will face this one. We will overcome the challenges and we will emerge victorious. Keep that in mind. I'm here personally to help you in any capacity that I can. Thank you very much. I'll hand it over to Tiago, and then we can do a Q&A.
Good afternoon and namaskar to everybody. As Ramji pointed out towards the end, all of us are here to help you, stand with you. Each one of you may have had people close to you, friends, relatives, who may have been affected, and that may have affected you deeply. But as Ramji pointed out very correctly, today, even though we are in the midst of a second crisis, we are in a much better situation to overcome the crisis thanks to the vaccination efforts on the one side and ability to treat COVID, various forms, various virulent levels, various levels of aggression with medicines and other means. Some of them may be currently short and maybe in news for the wrong reasons, but we will overcome, as Ramji said. I think he also talked a lot about how Agastya, by some planning, some cajoling and all of that, have been able to do almost as well in terms of the number of children reached, exposure, and others. But throughout this 13-14-month period, one of the things I can tell you that has been on the top of our mind is not number of children reached or number of teachers trained or how many exposures we achieved, but how are our employees doing. I can tell you this from the bottom of my heart, and that is one of the things that we have always kept in mind. And that is the spirit with which we have been engaging with people. Each one of us called several people during the year and talked to them for half an hour, 45 minutes, asking about them and so on. And I think that is the kind of spirit which has kept us going. And you're reciprocating the same spirit throughout the year is what has made Agastya what it is. And that is what will make us overcome this crisis also. I'm going to talk about just a couple of more things. One, what should you do in the short term? What should you do for the long term? And what is Agastya going to do? Once again, a bit of a repetition from what Ramji said, but good things and things that ought to be emphasized, stressed, have to be done repeatedly for it to become practice. After all, when you learn driving initially, you're very conscious of the accelerator, the clutch, the brake, and everything. And after some time, you don't even know that you're pressing the accelerator or the clutch or the brake, but you do it almost, like very, very natural reaction to something that's happening on the street. And good practice, that is what it brings. Why I'm saying that is because Ramji talked about, don't think going without a mask is courage. It is stupidity. Every study has proved that good masking helps keep the virus away 90% of the time. Therefore, repeat, mask, 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 wherever you're going. I am guilty at times of going down to open the door when an Amazon delivery or somebody comes in without wearing the mask. And I curse myself saying that repeatedly I have been told and I'm still doing this. That is what we should try and overcome by good practice of saying mask when you have to meet somebody or go near anybody. Social distancing, people have talked about it. Now it is almost established that it is aerosols, it is airborne and not so much from surfaces. And therefore, social distancing becomes very, very important, maybe even longer than 2 meters, perhaps, as originally envisaged. Avoiding large gatherings, absolutely. in the short term and making sure that you are masked, you are socially distanced, and you are avoiding social gatherings. Other thing that I want to talk about in the short term is somewhere or the other, a section of the population have been persuaded to on vaccine hesitancy. They are hesitant. They are anti-vaxxers. They don't think it is correct or not required. I can weather this, or it's not correct, or some other reason. But the fact of life is, lots and lots and lots of studies have established throughout, that vaccination helps. Vaccination helps you away from serious illness, even if you contract COVID after the vaccination is complete. Because prevention is not 100%. Prevention is 60, 70%. But people do say, and studies do establish, that people who have taken the vaccine avoid serious illnesses, probably even hospitalization most of the time. And therefore, vaccination, according to all the established studies, is good practice. Do not be vaccine hesitant. When the opportunity comes, register and get yourself vaccinated. You will also be less of a spreader if you're vaccinated, and therefore you're doing socially the right thing as well. And these are the 4 or 5 short-term things that I would like to stress. Long-term, why am I going to talk long-term? Because this is an opportunity. All of you are almost staying at home, doing your work online, doing it on web and everything. This is the time, and most of you are young. I can definitely say that practically everybody in this room, in this Zoom call, is younger than me. I am 68 plus. Remaining healthy, immunity building dietary practices, breathing exercises, be it yoga or any other exercise that helps you expand your lungs capacity, make sure that you can breathe well, exercising, walking, keeping yourself healthy as much as possible is a long-term investment that you can make right now. And that is very, very important. When you are tackling the short term, do remember that such instances may repeat again. I'm not a doomsdayer. I wish it wasn't. I'm an optimist, but we have to plan for the future, and who knows what can happen in the future. But a well-prepared body and mind, a mind which is free of clutter, a mind which feels confident, a mind which is not psychosomatic, can overcome any of these crises, even in the future, this pandemic or even the next. And therefore, long-term, invest in remaining healthy, exercising, walking, running, etc., to keep yourself fit, cardiac fitness, lungs, breathing, yoga, similar, immunity building diet and practices. And the other thing that Ramji stressed, and the power of helping somebody psychologically, mentally, if you help somebody that day, you feel so good, you sleep well, and all of that absolutely adds to your long-term health. And therefore, try and be helpful. That is something that can add to your the glands, as they say, the various glands that get your body healthy. And they say laughing or being cheerful and helping somebody, being altruistic, all of that is a wonderful thing to do to make yourself long-term healthy. And therefore, it's very important for you, as Ramji pointed out, not to get into the vicious spiral of going into WhatsApp gyan, or the thing that goes around in terms of rumor mongering. Take the good things from WhatsApp, which gives you helpline numbers or to reach out to somebody to help somebody else and all of that. Those are perfectly fine. But filtering out noise, as he said correctly, noise that doesn't help you, noise that clutters your mind, again, is a much better way of keeping short-term and long-term equanimity. And therefore, that is another thing. Ramji also talked about Agastya standing by to help. He talked about the helpline that we are putting together. Nagesh has already put together the team, and he has got all the email IDs and the phone numbers, etc. Those people will be undergoing a quick training on what help they can provide. Obviously, they cannot provide, and you cannot expect them to provide doctor level, prescriptions and things like that. Those are not to be expected. They can only tell you where to look for resources, maybe a link here, maybe a person who you can reach out to in your local area, or maybe certain resources which will help you, or even a shoulder to sort of pour out your issues. If you have afflicted people in the house and you're affected by it psychologically, for you to take care of your mental well-being. The other engagement committee that Sri Shail has put together is to keep you engaged, and he said, and as Ramji said, to avoid the devil's workshop kind of problem, which can lead you to a vicious cycle, which can vicious spiral. Negative leads to further negative, further negative, further negative, and so on. And therefore, I think it's important. And I think, I'm seeing a lot of things on the chat box about home, washing hand frequently, double layered, triple layered mask, etc. All of that is well known to you, but repeating these is not, don't think of me as an idiot, stupid guy repeating known things. The reason why we repeat it is because it should go into your system, like driving, almost unconsciously or subconsciously you do it. And we are here to help. The organization is full of that spirit. Take care. All the best.
Thank you, sir. I request people to raise your hands if you have any questions or anything you want to share or ask to Tyagu sir and Ramji sir. So you can put your hand up. We will unmute you and you can talk. It's absolutely fine. You can ask in your local language or any other language, Hindi, English, Marathi, whatever language you feel comfortable. Or you can write your question or anything you want to share in the chat box. Yeah, Balram sir.
Hello. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, Anandam. Here I would like to share one thing. Yesterday it happened. One of our employee actually he's ill. Suddenly his kidney and the liver is required to much treatment. Even plasma is required for him. So he went to ESI hospital because when he is working in Agastya, he got the opportunity to at least he can go and hospitalized in ESI hospital. Now doctors are taking care of him, and immediately the AP Telangana team, we thought, let us help our team members. Immediately everyone put their contribution, and we collected the 35,000 rupees, 35,950 rupees. And at the same time, one more person, he got COVID positive, and his son also. Financially, they are also very poor. So 5,000 rupees we provided to one person, and 30,950 we provided to another guy who is having the kidney liver problem. This is what we done yesterday, sir. Because when we are doing when we are in Agastya, always we will feel this is Agastya family. We are there for you. Please don't worry. Definitely will come back. So we given that is moral support to him. Now he's getting better. Well.
Well done, Balram and team.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah. So in the chat box, Mr. Topaz has mentioned one thought, sir. We need to frame a key messages about vaccine and take these to parents and children.
Umesh has already sent this message down to everybody on vaccination, including a poster that Subbu has designed. He has also sent some resources in terms of website links on where you can register, what are the precautions to be taken, etc. We can repeat that message. We will post it in our ESS portal. It will be the landing page. We can put it in Facebook. We will do all the communication that is required. I have replied to Topaz on chat box.
No, Tiago, I think he's talking in terms of creating some kind of a small, like, I don't know if it's the lesson plan or equivalent.
Oh, okay, sure.
Communication can go in one of our sessions.
Sure.
Children take it to their parents through that session.
Sure.
Or maybe some standard message, first 5 minutes of every session, we try to reinforce daily.
Absolutely. That's a good idea, Topaz. Yes, absolutely. We'll do that. Maybe Manju and Sony can take it up and get it done.
Rakhi has raised her hand.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. I think one of the things, it's good that we have set up this helpline. One of the things that might additionally help is to create a list of frequently asked questions. You know, that if you can compile all the information in one place, it'll be easy for people to refer to. And that way the number of calls that Nagesh and his team will get will also go down.
So, Rakhi, there's a plan to set up a website where we will be posting most of these. So you don't actually need to call helpline every time.
Sure, great. Okay.
Which will be having tabs for each state, because if I put everything in one place, then there'll be a plethora of information again you can't search. So state-wise, we are trying to create some tabs, and Subbu's taken up that thing, and we will soon post it. Once we get all the information, we'll start posting it and circulating that, so people can just refer to that and get more.
Yeah, that would be great. Excellent. Yeah.
What concerns do people have? Ayappa Sami has sent something on chat. Yeah.
I am told that this oxygen shortage, Ayappa Swami, is due to logistics of storage and delivery and mismatch of supply chains is what I'm told. But it is a critical thing that hospital supply chains do need to be supported with. And I think a lot of efforts have gone into enhancing production as well as oxygen trains and deliveries, and courts are directly talking to the central and state governments. So I believe while short term it has led to distress and some deaths, it will be overcome. I think that's something that you can look at.
Yes, Ramesh.
Yeah.
Ramesh, you can go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I unmuted my this one. I think in India and maybe across the globe, a common man is facing the problem. Two problems, I feel. One is definitely a life risk, or there's a very health issue and all. Second is a financial challenge. Definitely, everybody is facing outside or everywhere. So in both the cases, as an organization, definitely I feel very fortunate that I'm in Agastya. But as a whole, if I see how Agastya is definitely see this as a financial as well as the health issue or life risk, and I want to just listen from Ramji Sir or Tabu Sir how these both things are balancing in our organization.
No, what do you mean financial risk?
Risk, it is not a risk actually. is a challenge, financial challenge, because when I go outside, I see that people are facing very great financial challenges. The day workers, they are not getting the works, or the some of them lost their jobs. And when I go outside, the people are striving, like they don't not getting the their daily works. And because it is a lockdown, all shops are closed. I'm really feel worry when I go outside, and the person is kind of a begging, because his shop is closed, he cannot work, and he cannot get his everyday maybe meal and all.
Is your question, what about the employees of Agastya? Is that what your question is, or about what is our view about what's happening in the economy?
Not economy, but maybe about Agastya employees, how we are really balancing that.
Yeah, Agastya employees, as you know, and as I said, last year, all of you took a sacrifice, all of us took a sacrifice, and we made sure in compensation that senior management takes the biggest hit. Then it seemed like we were coming out of this crisis as a nation. We had the confidence to say, let us bring the salaries back up to what they were pre-COVID. Am I right, Tyagu?
Yeah, absolutely.
And we did that. Now, see, like last year, we are committed. Anything can happen in life. Last year I said, we are committed, but there are no guarantees. Okay? But we are committed. So like last year, we are committed to ensuring that we keep our employees, as many as we can, if not all of them. Maybe in 3 or 4 months, the situation, if we vaccinate, India vaccinates 40% of the population by October, you're getting to where America is today, or Britain is today. They have shown a tremendous drop in infection and fatality. If India gets to that level, there could be a massive economic turnaround. There could be. In fact, there will be, if not in October, by December or January. Okay? Because there will be, with a vengeance, there will be a turnaround. Now, we are committed to keeping our staff paid to the extent we can. So as of now, there is no change. And why are we committed? And this is an important point, Ramesh. See, it's not just about Agastya employees. Agastya is in this world for a purpose. The purpose is to help people, primarily the underprivileged children and the government school teachers. But at the same time, as a caring organization, we cannot take always a profit and loss kind of view and say, if the project isn't there, fire all the employees. That is not our philosophy. It is, even if the money dries up, even if the project isn't there, we ask ourselves, can we still retain the employees, continue to pay the employees, so that when things turn around, we can benefit from that turnaround, one. Two, we are here to help people. You are all people. We are all people. So to the extent we can, the financial situation will be managed to continue to keep our employees on payroll to the best of our abilities. As I said last year, what happens 3 months from now, I don't know. It might actually be a super takeoff. It could be, because the world is so volatile. But we are committed, and we'll stay with that in terms of our financial capacity and willingness. Tyagu can add whatever he wants to this.
I think you have said whatever needed to be said. It is people orientation, number one, and managing our finances to make sure that primary goals such as people and our vision, etc., is always there. And therefore, as far as Agastya is concerned, the primary purpose and the primary way in which we will look at things is to manage finances and other things in such a way that as many people as possible can continue to be helped.
And you know, some donor might go, some other donor will come. Yesterday, Rakhi called me and said, I'm very happy to tell you that Biocon is renewing the MOU. Somebody called me, Subbu, I think, told me 2 days ago that JP Morgan wants to renew and expand its activities. So there will be some who will go because they themselves may be in trouble, others who will come. That is what, see, you can look at uncertainty either as something that is very troubling or something that is very exciting and challenging. My view is, if I start looking at uncertainty as something very troubling, that's a horrible place to be in. I would rather view it as something that's very exciting and challenging, because at least then it is challenging me, and whether I win or lose, I'm in the game, I'm in the battle. I haven't lost before the battle has begun. So, part of life is intrinsically uncertain. There is no such thing as certainty in anything. I could be dead tomorrow, right? Anything can happen. There are people better than me who just popped off like that. Okay? Or I could be alive for the next 25 years. Who knows? Is that going to change things for Agastya? Maybe in the short run, a little bit. But no, organizations like Agastya go way beyond any one individual or group of individuals. So, the uncertainty will always be there. Never seek certainty, because that's an illusion. That is our Hindu philosophy even. Most philosophies. Certainty is an illusion. Life is uncertain. Deal with that. We are dealing with it. And we'll come out victorious. And this may not be the last battle. There'll be many more battles in your lives. And this will do nothing but strengthen you even more.
Thank you, sir. There is one question from Abhijit. He asked directly, is that COVID coverage insurance will be continued for this year for the people whom the ESI is not there?
Sai may like to answer.
Sai, sir?
Yeah, the answer is yes. It is already continuing. It's been renewed.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
You were giving an example of one employee where the insurance people really delivered big time, right?
That's right.
What was that?
Mukesh went through some difficulty.
Yeah, Mukesh, who's the region head of North 2, went through a bad patch, and his wife himself both had to be hospitalized. And the hospital was refusing to honor cashless insurance. They were insisting that they pay upfront and later on claim from the insurance company. But typically, when it is cashless, the insurance company ensures that the hospital doesn't overcharge and does things in the right way. And therefore, even if one has cash, when you don't do cashless, then you may end up having to pay a lot of money from your own pocket. But the insurance company, Umesh worked hard with the insurance company for about 2-3 days, and finally they convinced the hospital to accept cashless. And I think that really helped. It took the burden off, and I would say Umesh was very helpful there. And of course, the insurance company was also very helpful. The basket options was our channel for the insurance company.
Now, I see a question here, and did Sai already answer that? our organization how to support officially our instructors after COVID positive cases. This information will be useful for all. That's a question from Raj Kamal.
How to support officially our instructors after COVID positive cases?
Sai, are you going to answer is what Ramji is asking?
No, I thought he was asking whether what
You
I answered
it.
answered that question, or is there still any doubt? I think that is what Ramji was.
Yeah, so you have answered it, right?
Yeah, to a large extent, yes, but I don't know what context that question was asked. So if Raj Kamal is online, maybe you can just explain what exactly, if there's something more that you're looking for.
Raj Kamal, you can unmute and talk.
Any language is okay. Hindi, English, whatever.
Hi, sir. This is Raj Kamal, sir.
Yeah, Raj Kamal, tell me.
Yes, sir. I ask about the same like insurance or any kind of other from Agastya side, because the insurance from outside, how can like leaves like those things, sir?
So insurance, like I said, normally ESI is covering our employees. There are some employees who are not covered by ESI. For those employees, we have taken the insurance. So depending on whether the employee is under ESI or not, they will either get supported through ESI or get supported through the insurance. And if any help is required in either of this process, HR is always available. You can call Umesh and his team is more than happy to support wherever it's required. Now, in terms of leave, etc., see, normally it takes about 2 weeks for COVID. That's the general time frame. There are some people who feel weak after the 2 weeks also. Some people are fine because now there is a wide variation between what different people are experiencing. And therefore, I think our leave policy takes into account enough of that, because each employee is almost getting about 30 days leave in a year. So it's more than sufficient to handle any eventuality. We pray that nobody actually has to use it for the sake of COVID, but in the event it is required, then it can definitely be used. I don't foresee any issue at all. We would not end up in a situation where an employee would not be able to take leave for COVID. Definitely that situation will not arise.
Thank you, sir. So if there are any other questions or suggestions, Amol says HR team is very prompt in helping or responding to ESIC support. So
That's good. Happy to hear that. What else?
Anyone else?
Any question?
Or else
Feel free.
Yeah.
Anything, Srisel, you feel we need to address, or any of the region managers feel, given what they've heard from their staff?
Any of the regional
People
managers
can
want
also
to
look
say
at the
anything?
chat window. Some answers I have posted there to specific questions.
So whether it is Sandeep or Shiv or Mukesh or Babita or Geeta, anything else you feel needs to be answered, Dilip?
So any manager, if your team members have been asking you questions which they're for some reason hesitant to ask here, you can ask on their behalf.
Yeah, Dilip sir. Dilip sir is on.
Yeah. Thank you, Shishir. Good evening to all. sir, one request or suggestion kind of a thing. Per region, can we keep some material like oximeter or something which is required emergency for an instructor? Region wise, can we spare some materials and keep it ready? If something goes wrong, can we shift it to their own self kind of thing?
Yeah, I asked Lakshmi to look into that and do it.
Okay, that's great, sir. Thank you.
But speak, where is Lakshmi?
I'm not sure he's on the call, Ramji. He had to rush to his native place last night.
Oh, okay. Then who will look into this in his absence?
Oh, I'll check. I'll talk to him.
I think Lakshmi is there.
Yeah, I don't know if it's Lakshmi Narayan or Lakshmi.
Yeah, I am here, sir. I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm working on that, and if anybody wants, if they give the list, definitely will provide whatever they want. Not an issue for that.
But Lakshmi, you create a list based on feedback so that there's a standard list.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm working on that.
These materials are available to people at a pinch in a crisis. It's a good point.
Yes, sir. Sure.
Okay, but let's do it with urgency.
Sure, sir. Sure.
And, I don't think you have to buy it here. The regions can buy it themselves, right?
Yeah. That also we can facilitate. Not an issue.
So just in principle, yes, go ahead and do it. But
Yeah.
let's do it fast. These things we must move rapidly.
Yeah, I already asked Dilip also. Whatever he wants, if you give a list, definitely I will provide that. I already told. Even Geeta, I spoke to Babita, I spoke to them. And some other managers, I'm going to speak to them in a day or two and finalize the list.
Okay, let's not delay. Let's
Yeah,
not
sure.
be bureaucratic, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Manju sir,
if the region managers is not hearing back from Lakshmi in a day or two, you take the decision and go and buy it and keep it as you see fit.
Yeah, so this is Manjunath.
Ah.
Just I want to share the one of experience myself and also my suggestion is that so we can have some of a core team who has the more knowledge in this COVID crisis. One is psychologically as well as the because myself I get my wife got positive. Of course, myself and my children are not affected. And but I never taken her to hospital or anything at all. I kept her in my home and she got it better. Only thing is I taken a help of Selva, who keep on giving suggestion every day, every time. Morning, even I used to call him and take suggestions. So like that, if there is of course, Selva's wife is a doctor, and he has also before 3 weeks before he also affected positive. And based on that, if some people are there and people can reach, because many times people get panic and that panic makes the people it gets to immunity may come down or they may get into a lot of other troubles. So if such kind of things happen, it will be more better. That's my suggestion.
Manju, Sai here. And
Yeah, sir.
sorry, Ramji, I would like to take a shot at this before you respond. See, it is very important to provide moral support.
Yeah.
Understand? There's absolutely no doubt in my mind, and we should, whoever is knowledgeable. But please, for God's sake, don't use it as a proxy for a doctor. Don't stop going to a doctor saying, okay, this person has gone through, he's telling me, he's treating me. That would be disastrous. Can be. So please provide moral support. People who have gone through it, who have experienced, share their experience. It is taking multiple forms. There is no uniformity that this is how the virus behaves. There's no standard protocol. So please do not encourage people not to go to a doctor and instead talk to someone who's experienced this. That would be my sincere prayer.
Okay.
Now, on that, I have a question. Do all the employees have access to a doctor, in the sense, whether it's their family doctor, local doctor, does everyone have access to a doctor in the event of?
So, Ramji, I have shared some helplines with Subbu, which will go onto that website, which has doctors providing free telemedicine support. And this is the organization which I personally know of. So it's not some fake number or something. So anyone from across the country can call and take free telemedicine support from doctors there. So we will be putting up those numbers on the website.
Okay. So if somebody doesn't have access to a doctor, please go there, and please, if you still for some reason don't have access and all that, don't wait for the crisis. Let the helpline know to see if there's anything that can be done about it. Now, there was some question on, is there anything, and Hari, I think, responded to it, but there was a question on, can Agastya do anything about vaccinating its employees? Now, I am told, assume that vaccines begin to come back. I mean, they are there. They are giving the doses every day. It's just that demand is more than supply. There are some buildings and organizations that used to arrange these vaccination camps, for which I was told you need about a collection of at least 50 people. Is this something that we can do in some of the places where we are, where we have more than 50 people?
So Ramji had discussed this with the region heads and suggested that they should explore. For example, Nimesh has done it in Gujarat already, and he did it for quite a few people in Kareli, our instructors. So we
fantastic.
And in that, the methodology he used, he actually shared with others so that they could also check it out. And this was almost more than a month back, when there was still vaccine hesitancy. Now it's the other way around, that there is a shortage. But yes, this has to be done at a local level. So region heads, wherever they are, in that area, for example, in Delhi, we can do in Pune, we can do in Mumbai, we can do, though I understand Mumbai is a large city and people may be spread out, but if you are able to get 50 people, so maybe work with another non-profit locally, and together you can get 50 people. They have to assemble at one place and then they will do it. We can use our science center for that. One day people can go to the science center and do it. So I think that is something very much doable. And I would urge all the region heads to take the initiative on this.
Yes, please do.
And also, Kumar, the campus, we can probably do it for the group of employees, because we have a good number there.
And you can talk to Nimesh on how he got it done.
Yeah. So Nimesh's approach was different, Tiago. That was during the vaccine hesitancy.
Oh, acha, okay.
During vaccine hesitancy, he died at vaccination centers, saying that every day evening you will have 3 vials left. You give me a call, I'll send whatever number of people you need. And in a span of 10 days, he got everybody vaccinated.
Nimesh, congratulations.
They didn't want to waste the vaccine. So evening 4 o'clock, they say, okay, 3 more are left. What do we do? So call Nimesh, he'll send 3 people.
Fantastic. Now, Balram, what is your exact question? What can be our contribution to society apart from online sessions? Is that the question?
Balram sir?
Hello, yes sir, yes sir.
Okay. What did you have in mind?
Actually, we have our mobile app, at least the oxygen cylinders, transportation, or vaccines are the people, department are going to reach villages. We can use for the health department, not for the COVID patients.
So has anyone asked you for the help?
No, sir. No, sir. But necessity is there. I just thought that.
I mean, I'm open to that. You discuss it with Sai. See, we have to help in any way we can. This is a national social crisis. In fact, Rakhi was suggesting we use mobile labs, make them available to hospitals to do mobile vaccinations. So we can explore all these options.
Shivji?
Srishil, there's a lot of questions on the chat.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Someone wants to ask.
Karen has mentioned, for instance, PES Hospital Kuppam is keen, willing to provide.
Ramji, I just want to answer or talk about that point about my conversations and engagement with PES in Kuppam, and in answer to what Balram was asking. Quite a few things the PES has mentioned. One is about usage of mobile vans. As such, now they don't foresee, but the moment mobile vaccinations are allowed, PES would want to do mobile vaccinations, and they have said that they will use our both vans as well as the drivers, and they will set up the mobile vaccination camps and do that. Waiting for them to get back on both the stock availability as well as the rules being allowing for mobile vaccinations.
But what are the rules here? We have had people, hospitals come for various camps. What's the difference between that and mobile vaccination?
Mobile vaccination, what I'm told is about before the vaccination is taken out, they have to enter the details in some app. And at this stage, they have it only within the hospital, and they don't have the whatever the app or the tab or the permission to go out into villages and do the camps through a mobile van. But they are ready with the cold storage. They don't have the stock yet. Once the stock is ready, they are sure mobile vaccinations will happen, and they will reach. They will tell us, and we will be kind of partnering them for the mobile vaccinations around the campus. They have, yes.
They will be accessing the app even on campus through the web, right?
I mentioned this, Sai, to the doctors I'm talking to. They said when we are ready, we will definitely get in touch. I didn't dig into the technical details of it, but definitely there seems to be, some kind of they need to get some procedure cleared or something of that kind before they can start the mobile vaccination. But the bigger problem now seems to be having enough stock for it.
No, forget about the stock. We all know about that. Okay. So,
yeah, go ahead, Ram.
Balram, you speak to Vinoda. Hey, Balram, are you there? Balram.
I think he's.
Sir, yes, sir, I'm here. I'm with you.
Why is it taking so long to respond, buddy?
I was in mute. I was in mute.
Okay, listen. You speak to Vinoda. I spoke to her this morning. She is in touch with a couple of hospitals.
Okay, sir.
She can find out which hospitals will be willing, or health department, to avail this opportunity if and when it becomes possible.
Okay, sir.
Okay?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Shiv, sir?
I see a couple of hands up, but Srishil, before that, can we finish the questions in the chat? I don't know. Which one is first?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, the question is from Pranjali, sir. That's the one which we need to address.
There are some 4 or 5 questions. So one, I think, is from Topaz, where he says that they want financial compensation or something. So Topaz, I think we need to be very clear here. See, if one of us gets impacted or suffer from COVID, we will probably need to spend some money on treatment. Those who are covered by ESI, their treatment cost will be covered through ESI. Those who are not covered by ESI, their treatment cost will be covered by insurance. So what we are ensuring is that there is no additional financial implication on any employee or their children or spouse, because all of them are covered either by ESI or by this. So I think ensuring that, in my view, is a fair thing. But beyond that, whatever financial assistance is required, I don't think is linked to COVID. It could be part of my daily challenges, which each one of us is facing. Now, if you look at Maharashtra 1, Maharashtra 2, SK, now AP, they have all created some local pools through which employees are supporting employees. It is of the employees, by the employees, for the employees. I think you should explore something similar in Tamil Nadu. You can talk to Sri Shail, or you can talk to Ramesh or Amol or Dilip or Balram on how they have been doing. So that is more in terms of how to address. They started this last year when there was a salary cut and which impacted financially. Right now, we have brought salaries back on track, but I think they're continuing that whole thing where employees have created a kitty and then other employees take as a loan from there and return it interest free. So I think we should try and explore that. But the effort of Agastya is to try and ensure that because of COVID, there is no financial impact on the employee. So I just wanted to clarify that. On the same line, Pranjali, the insurance company has a limit that beyond 60 years age, they don't insure. So, for example, there are some people on this call who are not insured, even though they're employees of Agastya, because of that simple reason. And two is when we have to add parents. So we can't add parents of only, those who are not married, or parents who are young, but not add parents who are old and things like that. Then it becomes a huge challenge in terms of execution and as well as the cost. And that's the reason why this is not done. But a lot of insurance companies offer separately one-on-one, like I could just go and get myself insured for 5,000 rupees by paying 5,000 rupees or 7,000 rupees, which I think is something which each one of us can explore for those one or two people who have not been insured, because that is a much cheaper option than taking the risk of the cost of hospitalization if required in case someone is infected. So that's kind of a background to this. Pooja is asking, if we go to hospital after getting affected from COVID, what proof should we show that we are getting profit from our organization? I'm assuming you're referring to the insurance. So HR has last year sent an insurance card to every employee. This year again, they will send as soon as we get it, one for after the renewal. So all you have to do is show that insurance card. A soft copy is enough. You don't need to take a printout or anything. It will have a number. It will have the name of the insurance company. Show that in the hospital and
Shiv Chaudhary.
Shiv?
Good evening, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sir, good evening. So, yeah, my question is, you may have heard in the news, and we have all seen that Delhi NCR, most of the problems has been because of unavailability of oxygen. So, like Dilip was stating, to have some oximeter and all. At regional level, can we plan to have some mini oxygen cylinders for our employees, sir? Because in critical cases, I have seen some of my relatives suffering to get oxygen cylinders because hospitals beds are not available. There are multiple problems. In Delhi hospitals, similar case like Sai sir was discussing about Mukesh. Delhi hospitals or all private hospitals, they are not accepting any kind of insurance, and they are charging unnecessary money and all those stuff. So people are trying to be safe at home. Many cases, doctors are also recommending to have oxygen cylinder if they can manage. So can we explore that option, sir? That is my question.
Explore it here, but are they available?
I think by putting some effort, we may, because it takes some time. Problem is that those who needs immediately, they are not able to get that. But
Okay,
if we have some time and we explore and arrange. Okay.
Explore it and discuss it with Sai and Lakshmi Narayan. Explore it.
Okay. Sure. Thank you, sir.
Sorry, I got disconnected. I'm back.
Not just you, but even Sandeep, others, explore all these options and come back with suggestions.
Yeah, Sai, I think when
Sure.
you got disconnected, Shiv Chowdhury raised a question on oxygen and Ramji has answered that as explore.
Okay. Yeah, there were two hands raised.
Yeah, there is one question from Manju sir from chat box. Can we convert one MSL into ambulance in Kupang?
We looked into that, and in fact, Lakshmi and Kumar spoke to Raghu, who is with the HCG group. I don't know if Raghu is the final authority on this, but anyway, he gave some feedback. What was the feedback, Lakshmi, Kumar?
Yeah, so the feedback is that we need certain certifications to run an ambulance from the district authorities and all. Without that, we will not be able to run the ambulance. That is one thing. And other things, some medical certificates and all we need to do to convert any mobile lab or to buy a ambulance. So before that, if we run any ambulance, it will become a big issue. Something goes wrong. That's the reason, Kumar is, I gave the Raghu Ramanujam number also to Kumar, and Kumar is speaking to him on that.
The update is on the ambulance. So to make ambulance a public service, we need the permissions and the authorizations. But what we have done so far is for our own staff for an emergency response, which we anyway do using our vehicles, at least in the campus. We are in the process. In fact, it has already started. 2 of the Omnis we are converting into a possible ambulance. What that means is we are actually creating a driver chamber which is completely separated from the passenger, and the passenger will have the option to either lie down or be seated based on the comfort. And another person to help could also travel together. And the PPE kits and the sanitizers and the fumigators required for that will also be set up in the vehicle. And the drivers will be given a basic life support training, which is about a half an hour training. And we will have this ready and stationed at convenient place. 2 of them are being prepared, which should be ready by the end of this week.
But without certifications or approvals, don't run it as an ambulance, Kumar. It can lead to all kinds of issues, as pointed out by Lakshmi. If you are doing it, you just equip it and then don't call it as an ambulance and just do it. That's a different issue. But as a public service,
not calling it an ambulance at all. And it is only for the internal purpose. We are not calling it an ambulance.
Yeah. So having something ready, a vehicle which is useful, which has all the things, that is fine. But, making it into calling it as an ambulance or painting it as an ambulance or putting a light on top, all those things should be completely avoided.
No, we are not doing any of that. It will be a normal vehicle.
Yeah.
Only for the sake of emergency for our staff, it can develop and respond.
It's only a transport media.
Huh?
It's only a transport media from,
Correct.
from
that
this
is
one.
Yeah.
But if you're doing that with the Omni, the question is, should each of the regions have not an Omni, but can they convert an MSL to that kind of emergency use?
One way of looking at it is this, Kumar and Lakshmi and Ramji, is you offer that vehicle to an ambulance provider who has all the certifications and say it should be stationed in my campus. ambulances are stationed at public and important places. So they run it as a service for a short term, say 6 months, I offer it. They equip it with everything and they will have the certifications. Then it has to be stationed at your place. Now, when there is a call, they will take it out of your place and use it for common good, but it is supposed to come back to your place. So that is one way of mitigating this ambulance licensing issue. Otherwise, running a public ambulance service is a crime if you don't have the certifications.
No, running a public ambulance service, we are not going to do anyway.
Yeah.
Now, so there are two options. One is a pure transportation service with some equipment to alleviate the suffering of the COVID patient in an emergency. Correct, Kumar?
Yeah,
correct.
Okay. So the question is, can that be replicated? Should it be replicated for the regions as well? If so, how? Because this Omni has ventilation at the back, correct?
It has ventilation, yeah, on the passenger's chamber. It has ventilation. It has
But
windows.
the MSL doesn't have, but Dilip says the new one does.
Yeah, the light and ventilation was the major challenge with MSL, and that's why we chose this Omni. Omni exactly fits the bill. The MSLs, at least the old ones, I don't know about the new one, doesn't have the possibility without alteration for light and ventilation.
So what do the region heads recommend? Do they want this? Is it possible to convert the MSL into a emergency transportation?
I'm not sure right now the crisis relates to ambulance availability as such. I think the crisis relates to hospital beds with oxygen and ventilators.
Is there a crisis with ambulance availability?
I'm not sure. I have not seen so much about I didn't get ambulance and therefore something happened kind of a thing. I haven't seen that, at least in social media. People can correct me. Maybe Shiv Chaudhary or others may have a different experience.
Jagu, 2 days back there was a report saying that a lady couldn't get an ambulance to carry her husband's dead body to a crematorium. That guy charged $25,000.
Oh, that's okay. That's a commercial issue. I agree. Dead body. But I think this is for.
I'm saying ambulance is being used for all kind of things. Carrying COVID positive patients to the hospital. That also people please it. So maybe organization like EMRI, if they want, we can give the vehicle if they are willing to accept it and get it certified.
I know the founder. I mean, the main.
Sir, I have a small say in this. It's Selva here. If we are going to talk about this is for the purpose of our own employees, if it's going to serve the purpose of our own employees, I don't think it will work in other regions, because if it is in Kuppam campus, it is a smaller location. It's a geographically we have a very concentric location. But when it comes to different states, we are spread across the state. So one vehicle will not help. It will not help the other regions. Is what is my thought in this.
But Selva, there are. One is today the ambulance thing may not be an issue, like but you never know. Supposing the number of infections doubles or trebles, then everyone is going to say now we have an ambulance.
Shiv, can you mute?
So my point is, we shouldn't go by what the situation appears to be today. We should take whatever actions we need to err on the side of abundant caution. Even if it isn't used, 6 months from now we said, Bekar mein we converted 10 mobile labs. ठीक है, तो क्या हुआ? कुछ नहीं हुआ. थोड़ा बहुत पैसा खर्च किया, बस. But supposing that vehicle, to your point, Selva, it's not about is one enough for a region. If that one turned out to be instrumental in saving somebody's life, it's more than paid for itself. Supposing. there is a patient, there are no hospital beds, you have to drive 3 hours to get to one. And there is no ambulance willing to take you 3 hours, or there's a mad rush for ambulances. At least we have a vehicle that can take that person now.
And I think a vehicle sitting in campus, absolutely right, Ramji. There's no issue there.
No, I mean, even in the...
How
even in
feasible
Pune,
is
in
it at a region level is what Silva is saying.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, Selva, if it is useful even for one person, it is more than paid for itself.
Yeah, for instance, I had an incident yesterday. One of a donor called and he requested if he could help us transferring like one patient from Kuppam Government Hospital, two patients actually, husband and wife, and myself and Manju, we quickly got in touch with Ravi, and Ravi was immediately able to arrange an ambulance. But the whole day, the patients were not able to get the ambulance, and we were able to do it. And last night around 11:30, we shifted the patient from Kuppam to Bangalore. It helped. Now, what I'm trying to tell you is, it's not about the vehicle, it's about the people and the connect we have. And we should use the power of the capacity and the capability of our own self with the connections, rather than just believing on one vehicle parked at one location.
No, it's not just, we are already talking to an ambulance service, a nationwide ambulance service.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I can't rely on anyone, because in a crisis, Selva, in a crisis, nobody will be able to deliver. Assume that and plan for that. And even if one person is saved or two people are saved because of that, we should do it. Now, what do the region managers feel?
Sir, Lakshmi here. I think converting a mobile app into shifting transport kind of thing will not be a big issue. We can do it any place, and it may not be too much costly also. But we need to be very careful when transporting a person. If there will not be any oxygen support or anything in that vehicle, and too much of serious thing, it may not be a good idea to transport in those vehicles. That has to be, we should be very careful in.
No, we should be, Yar, but please tell me, we can't overanalyze the situation. We have to take a decision. We said in an emergency, suppose there's no transportation, you would rather not transport and let the patient perish, or put them on the back of the mobile lab and send them out with an oxygen cylinder?
Yeah, definitely we can convert any mobile lab into that. That will not be an issue at all. In any region they need, definitely we can do it. And in some places where a lot of our instructors or our people are there, we can park it those places, and it can be used. That will not be certainly it will not be an issue. As we convert in campus, the same way we can convert mobile labs into transport vehicle for crisis people.
Are we talking of transport for our employees or for anyone?
No, it is only for employees.
Okay, because if it is, then it is relatively okay, because otherwise we'll have to look at liabilities and stuff like that.
No, it's for our employees. Employee and the employee family member.
That's right. That's right. Then it's fine.
And there is a question from Shiv Chaudhary on oxygen cylinders. We are working with, as Ramji told, we are working with some vendors on oxygen supplies across country. And if anybody in your region have some vendors who can supply it, we can talk to them and establish a contract with them also. But again, we should be very careful saying that oxygen cylinders will not last for long. It has to be used as early as possible, and it has to be refilled. That also has to be taken care of.
See, if it is available, concentrator is better, because refilling cylinders is a pretty big challenge. Stocks are not available. You have to go stand in a queue. Then if you take a 50-liter cylinder, it's too heavy. You can't carry it around. If you take a 10-liter cylinder, it gets over in an hour. So it's a bit of a dicey thing in terms of cylinder. I know both are in short supply, but if by any chance concentrators are available, that would be a better option.
Okay.
Sir,
So what-
Ramji sir, my
Yeah, Shiv.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. So, in line with your point of converting one MSL into this transportation vehicle, it will be wonderful to have, sir. I have seen 2-3 of my known people suffering to get ambulance. Ambulance services are not very easily catering to COVID patients, sir. When it is difficult to arrange ambulance for COVID positive cases.
Okay.
So I have seen it something. If we can do it, one of our ideal vehicle, if we can take out models with a bit of modification, do it, make it a transportation vehicle, put 2 tables, maybe our own tables only, on which a patient can lie down and can be taken to hospital.
Yeah, Shiv, I'll talk to you on this, and then we'll identify some fabricator in your area, and we will definitely try to convert any of your one of MSL into ambulance transport vehicle. We'll not call it as ambulance; it can be a transport vehicle.
It will be normal vehicle taking.
Yeah, we need to isolate the driver part separately, and we need to, as Kumarji told, we need to put one either chair or kind of a bed, something, and light and ventilation. We need to do that. That definitely we'll try to do that.
In fabrication, we already have a window there. Iron, window is there. We just have to remove that and make it ventilated.
Sure. I'll talk to you tomorrow on this, and definitely we'll immediately on more foot we'll try to do that.
Sure.
Now, very good, Lakshmi. Now to Sai's Tyagu's point, which was a separate point, which is speak to an ambulance company and station an ambulance. What is our view on that? You've been
To offer a vehicle, they may. I don't know.
I've connected you to this company, right, Lakshmi?
Yeah, sir. Yeah. I'll talk to them, Raghu. I'll talk to him, and then try to see this possibility and get back to you on this immediately.
Okay, look at that also.
Sure.
So, Topaz, can you help from your earlier contacts? Topaz?
Government service, I don't know whether they will do it. 108 is a government service.
Yes, we can do it. We'll check, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Government, as Tyagu sir said, they usually don't for private people. For public, they will give. We can also talk to any hospital in the region, and we can check whether they can give us an ambulance specifically for our employees.
No. See, nobody will station their ambulance for our employees because it will be idle, and they
we
can't
offer the vehicle.
It's not correct also for us to keep one ambulance idle in this kind of scenario. What we're talking of is modifying our vehicle, which
that we can do,
carry a patient, whatever minimum requirement is there.
That we can do, sir. I will check it, sir.
See, my advice to all the senior managers is, in this environment, minimize risk, err on the side of caution, even if it appears today unnecessary, doesn't matter. Do it under what if type scenario, supposing the number, I wish as a country we had done it. Supposing the number of infections trebles. What might that do to the ambulance services? And then if we get 10 phone calls from people saying, sir, there is no hospital bed, help me. Okay, there is a hospital bed 4 hours away. Abhi kaise jaye wahan? Driver refuses because he'll get infected. At least we have something. So prepare for the worst emergency. Prepare for the worst emergency and pray that the best scenario happens. Worst case, we learned something. We spent a bit of money, but that's okay.
In fact, one of my friends colleague today could not find a bed in Delhi, and he had to be driven all the way to Ranchi in ambulance for a bed.
My God. Look at that. This is no longer speculation. This is reality. And we shouldn't be like, jab hoga dekha jayega.
Correct.
The Dr. Atre at Mahavir Jain was telling me they had created in the first wave these massive shelters or whatever with a whole bunch of beds. But the demand dried up, so they closed them down. Short-term thinking.
In Bangalore, 50% of ICU beds were closed down.
Short-term thinking. Because you're in the middle of a pandemic, you know what's happening. Anything can happen. God forbid. Prepare for the worst scenario and pray that it never happens. So, Agastya, we should prepare for our employees for the worst scenario and pray it doesn't happen, so that at least we should not say, "Arey, we wish we had done this." So please, Lakshmi, this is all on a war footing. This is not a slow kind of approach, okay? I don't want to create panic. All I'm saying is we're in a tough scenario. Let us be strong and prepared. Anything else we need to do, please tell us so that at least we know. It shouldn't be like, I wish I had known. Why didn't you tell me? We could have done this, we could have done that.
Definitely, Ramji. I'll be in touch with all RMs, and whatever the things we'll list it out, and definitely I'll try to meet those things in contact with Sai and you.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. I find one message which I find very concerning. Bhavesh says many managers and area leads do not want to talk to their employees about it. In this situation, they do not get the benefit of the facility to employees, for employees. Now, I would like you to explain this, Bhavesh. This is very, very concerning because this is the first time I'm hearing this. Normally, what I heard is that managers are in regular touch with employees, and that's what it is.
Bhavesh, are you there?
Sorry. We are not finding him, sir.
Huh?
I think he's not there, sir.
Okay, but let's take up this point. Go ahead, Sai.
The context is not known, Ramji.
No, but are we saying, let's guess, since he's not there, or try and reach him on the phone? Somebody reaches him on the phone. Please ask him to come back. Barring that, we have to guess, is there a point being made that the managers are not communicating enough with their staff about all the facilities that are available or potentially will be available? Is that the question?
Yeah, it seems like it. At least that's how I understood it.
That they want to deny or something, maybe.
So why don't we assume that to be the case and take it forward, Sai, till we hear from.
One is, if we assume what he said is correct, then hopefully this call is addressing that particular issue, because every employee is invited to this call. And he himself is on the call and is listening, or was on the call and listening. But my understanding is that all regional managers, area leads have regular fortnightly or monthly meetings with the whole team. One is at the area level, two is at the region level. In fact, just 2 days back when I called Sandeep, he said he's in a meeting with all employees and he'll call me back later. And that is a common thing which I experience. So I'm kind of a little perplexed by this particular statement. And I would probably will need to know specifics, Ramji. I don't know, because what I hear from the region heads is the opposite.
Now, let's just reiterate the importance of communication. Okay. Very, very important. We all stay in touch with each other. Now, I see there are 360 participants. Maybe at its peak, it was what Shri said?
487.
487.
480.
Now, we have about 1,000 or more, right?
I think several may be on YouTube also.
So how do we know whether they have heard what we have discussed or not? And how do we make sure that some summary level communication of what we have discussed reaches all of them?
No, we have a recording, Ramji, if required, the link can be shared. That can definitely be done.
Okay.
Of this entire call.
Okay.
Yes, sir. There are one or two hands from Sir Faisal wants to talk. He has raised his hand. So we'll take one or two, and then maybe we will.
After one or two, then maybe a couple of our senior people may want to have a word or two, like Hari and Mavir and Sastri maybe and others. Yeah, sure. Ajit and all that. Just one minute maybe.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Faisal?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thanks for giving me an opportunity to talk here. Good evening all to everyone. So I would like to thank one of the main important thing is regarding our regional manager Dilip sir and our area head Naveen sir also, because for every 15 days they call us personally and talk about our family. They take care of our family. How are you? How are your parents and all? And also last night I talked to our area head for more than half an hour. Our regional head and as well as our area head is taking care of all Bangalore our staff very safe and secure, sir. They are taking care of us. I heard that no, they are not taking care of instructors and all, but it's not true in our SK region. Dilip sir calls us every 15 days, and each of us talk to him about what is the status, how is your health, how is your going on, how is your work is going on, each and everything he take care, sir.
Good. Okay.
Very good. Well done.
Manju sir, your hand is up, or you want to say something, or you are not?
Yeah, just I want to reinforce and requesting to all the people who are in this call, people those are having either positive in their family or other, there is a primary contact person. Make sure that they should not come to any workplace, or they should not travel, they should not come without any proper mask or anything. They should not come because it's happened in one or two cases. That's why that awareness should be there as Agastyan, that if there is a primary contact, if there is a positive in their home or their contact person, so make sure that they should be very careful. They should not become as spreaders.
Correct.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Mohammed?
Yes. Sir, can we talk in Hindi?
Sure.
Yeah, please.
सर मैं ये बताना चाह रहा था, जैसे हमारी जो मीटिंग होती थी वो हर वीक में या 10 दिन में हो जाती थी, लेकिन अभी कुछ टाइम से रंजीत सर जो उनकी भी तबीयत सही नहीं थी, इस वजह से हमारी कुछ टाइम में मीटिंग नहीं हुई। लेकिन ऐसा नहीं है कि हमारे और जो एरिया लीडर उन्होंने छोड़ दिया, और ऐसा नहीं था। हिमांशु सर है, मुकीम सर है, इन्होंने कॉल बैक किए कि भाई कैसा प्रोग्राम चल रहा है, कैसी हेल्थ है आप लोगों की। तो वैसे तो रंजीत सर सारी चीजें करते थे, मीटिंग होती थी हमारी एवरी वीक या आफ्टर 10 डेज, यही रहता था। तो लेकिन मीटिंग कम हुई है, लेकिन फिर भी बाकी के जो एरिया इंचार्ज हैं उन्होंने भी हम लोग की खबर ली है। That's it.
Okay. Good, Mohammed.
Okay. Thank you. Santosh Kumar.
Yes, good evening to all. सर हमारे एरिया पे एवरीडे मॉर्निंग मीटिंग होता है सर, गूगल मीट पे। हम एवरी इंस्ट्रक्टर द सीसैक रीजन, हमें आप सबका तबीयत कैसे है फैमिली कैसे है, सभी एवरीडे मॉर्निंग 10:30 to 11:30 मॉर्निंग प्रेयर में हम सबको ही पूछते हैं सर, अपना अपना हाल आप ये करके हम मीटिंग करते हैं।
Good. Those who have spoken, maybe they can put down their hands so that anybody else who has not spoken, like Manoj Patel, if he wants to.
Havappa, Manoj.
Hello, sir. Manoj.
Yeah, Manoj.
Manoj from Gujarat, sir. सर गुजरात में अभी हम 3 एरिया लीड और रीजनल मैनेजर निमेश सर है। हम सभी IMT और सभी एक दूसरे के साथ एवरी वीक हम कॉल करते हैं और आफ्टर 15 डेज टीम के साथ कॉल रहता है, तो उसके अंदर काफी सारी डिस्कशन होती है। और हमने लास्ट ईयर एक प्रोग्राम शुरू किया था रूबरू करके, जिसके अंदर हम प्रोग्राम रिलेटेड या तो टारगेट रिलेटेड कुछ भी बात नहीं करेंगे, उसके अंदर जिसके पास सारी अच्छी क्वालिटीज है, जिसके पास कोई हिडन टैलेंट है, तो उसके बारे में ही हम बात करेंगे। तो वो काफी सारी चीजें इसके अंदर से बाहर आ रही है और टीम के पास क्या क्या एक्स्ट्रा टैलेंट रहा है वो भी बाहर आ रहा है, तो इससे टीम को भी काफी मोटिवेशन मिल रहा है।
Avappa, you can please mute yourself.
Okay.
अगर किसी को हेल्थ ठीक नहीं है, किसी के यहाँ नेटवर्क ठीक नहीं आ रहा है, तो उसको हम बोलते हैं कि अगर आपके पास हेल्थ अच्छी नहीं है तो आप 2-3 दिन की छुट्टी लेकर आराम कीजिए और आपकी हेल्थ जब ठीक हो तब आप रेगुलर अपना काम स्टार्ट करें। तो टीम से भी हमें सपोर्ट मिल रहा है और हम भी उनको सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, तो उस वजह से दोनों का सपोर्ट एक दूसरे को मिल रहा है, तो काम करने का भी थोड़ा अच्छा मजा आ रहा है।
Okay.
Okay, great. So yeah, so Tyagu sir, I think we can take the last remarks from senior people and then we can.
Hari, Mahavir, Rajit.
Already we are reaching to 5:30.
Yeah. Hari, you may have something to say, or?
Yeah, I have only one thing to say. I've been hearing about the discussions the area managers are having with the employees, the regional managers are having with employees, and similarly, what you call all hands meeting which Ramji is having today. All I have to say to every employee is that do not wait for this organized calls to talk to people. These are tough times, and people do have a lot of stress because of whatever is happening in the family or something around you. I think you should not have any inhibition or anything which you should keep bottled inside you. Just come out and talk to anybody you feel you want to share something. And I don't think anything is wrong in doing that. It's definitely not a sign of weakness of any kind. Please feel free to share so that even if the person cannot help, at least he might try to help you in some way. That's all I have to say.
I think any of you can reach any of us. Yeah.
Yes, sir. However, you have raised hand again.
Thank you, sir. Sir,
Please
I am.
go ahead.
Sir, can I speak in Kannada?
Ha.
Sir, ನಾನು ಬೀದರ್ ಬಾಲ್ಕಿಯಿಂದ ಸರ್ ಹರ್ಬಲ್ ಲೈಫ್ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಷನ್ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ. ನಮ್ದು ರೀಜನಲ್ ಹೆಡ್ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬಬಿತಾ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಅವರು, ಟೀಮ್ ಲೀಡರು ಪುಂಡ್ಲಿಕ್ ಸರ್. ಸರ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ದು ರೀಜನಲ್ ಹೆಡ್ 8 ದಿವಸದಲ್ಲಿ ಎರಡು ಸರ್ತಿ ಆದ್ರೂ ನಮ್ದು ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಸರ್. ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ತುಂಬಾ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನಮ್ದೇ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಕೇಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ವರ್ಕ್ ಸ್ಮಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಆರೋಗ್ಯದ ಬಗ್ಗೆನೂ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ರೀತಿಯಿಂದ ವಿಚಾರಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಸರ್. ನಾವು ಇದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆನೂ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ. ಆ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಅವ್ರ ಕೈ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಉತ್ತಮ ಅನಿಸ್ತದೆ ಸರ್. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you, sir.
Good.
Thank you, Havappa. Thank you. Mahavir, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, well.
Because my this thing showing is muted, that's why. There are two things I just wanted to say. One was regarding this meetings, what they are referring to. I thought what he referred to was that some of the benefits of some of the schemes has not been communicated down to them. It is not about the regular meetings where they discuss the work plans or maybe inquire about the health and all that, but it is a communication of some of the basic amenities and benefits of it, say like the ESI and all that, which has not been communicated down the line. That is what I thought it is. If that is so, then I think that needs to be specifically addressed in the meetings so that anytime any management decisions are brought out or any new such benefits are brought to the notice, that should be immediately discussed and brought to the attention of all the employees. That is one point. Second point is regarding the ambulance. What I thought is, while it's a good, very good suggestion and all that, and I had a discussion with Lakshmi and all that on this. Only one very important point we'll have to consider is ambulance, keeping a vehicle not designated as an ambulance, but using it for emergency purposes for our staff is one thing and good. But using it for any other person other than staff or employee of Agastya will create a insurance problem, because these are all supposed to be transport vehicles, not passenger vehicles, and we are not allowed to carry anybody other than the staff or employees of Agastya. So otherwise it will invalidate, not only invalidate the insurance, third party and the comprehensive insurance all gets invalidated. That also has to be taken note of while thinking about the insurance, about the ambulances. Was he, hello?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Understood.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think that's all. These are two main points what you want.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Sandeep, sir.
Oh, I think it was fabulous to listen to Ramji and all other seniors. It was really energizing session. In last 1 month, I had several sessions on different occasions with the team. But after this meeting, I think I'm going to talk with my regional managers today evening itself. And I think we will organize all the information that has come from management, top management, about the benefits to employees, and organize sessions with all teams as early as possible in next few days, and pass on this information to them, and also create resource network. We have plenty of information available from government sources, NGOs, all that can be consolidated into baskets and can be passed on to local teams, and somebody made responsible to track if anybody is in need of any assistance, if they are able to connect with those resources.
Thank you, sir. Nagesh, sir.
Yeah. See, as Ramji and Tyagu and now Sandeep mentioned, we are all, as an Agastya, talking about caring. And the underlining point of the entire session, as I understand, is about caring. So since many things have been talked about already, I don't want to get into that. So now to specific to that, what Sandeep was mentioning, Agastya COVID helpline has been created with about 24 people, going to facilitate this helpline to the needy, particularly to our employees and their families across the region. And we have identified 2 people from all the regions, including campus and HO and all that. That is going to be shared to all the regions in, I think, in a few, and maybe tomorrow itself. And all these people are going to be given the adequate knowledge, training, and orientation so that they will be equipped with guiding, supporting, facilitate the required information about the COVID helpline. That's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Kumar, sir, anything you want to share?
Nothing specific. I just take this whole message. I mean, the key thing I took was from all directions, think and prepare for the worst, pray for normalcy very soon. I think constantly we need to think about what steps could we take for caring more our employees as well as the community and implement them at a lightning speed. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sai, sir. Sai, sir, you're on mute.
Yeah, I was not allowed to unmute earlier, so I don't know. Okay, no, I think a lot has been said. Only point I would like to make is that what situation we are in is not under our control in terms of the external environment, but how we respond to the situation is completely under our control. And if we can focus on that rather than focusing on the situation, I think it'll help us a lot. That's all I would say.
Thank you, sir.
I would just like to reflect what on the chat box Doddaraju has written, saying that he is happy to be an Agastyan. That's what we want all of us to be. And this session hopefully has gone a little bit of the way towards that.
Thank you, sir. Sir, there is one hand raised, sir, from Chitra. I'll just take this and I'll go to Ramji, sir. So, Chitra. Chitra. Okay. Great. So, Ramji, sir, your last remarks.
Now, I want to thank everyone for making the time to come to this meeting. I think it's very important for each one of us. You know, as Sai said, it is how you respond to a situation that really differentiates one person from another. You can either respond in a very fearful, timid, weak way, or you can respond to a situation in a positive, energetic, and helpful way. The latter is the warrior spirit. That is the spirit of Agastya. For those of you who have been to the campus and seen the statue of Maharishi Agastya, remember, it's a force for good, okay? It's a force for protection. It is a force for advancement, provided we all respond properly. And this is really at the heart of it, how we respond. Do you want to be fearful, or do you want to be fearless? Now, fearless might be something that you might say it's too much. You know, remember in Europe, when they went through the Second World War, it was 10 times worse than this. You couldn't sleep at night because you didn't know when a bomb would go off. You had to rush down to a bunker or to the underground. And they had to do it for 5 years continuously. So while we are going through a crisis, human beings have been through much worse than this and come out of it strong. And in the Second World War, the American President Roosevelt famously said, "We have nothing to fear but fear itself." Give that some thought. Don't succumb to fear. Okay? And certainly the management of Agastya is totally committed to making sure that Agastya survives and succeeds as an organization. And we are here to help you, to help everyone achieve your dreams in your life. So I'll end with that, and let's get to work. Be full of energy, optimism, and be fearless. Thanks, Shri Sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. On behalf of all the participants, I thank you, Tagu sir, Sai sir, and all our senior management for taking out your time and, as usual, showering your love and care for all of us. We are sure we will think positively and spread the positivity across, and will come out victorious. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you all for taking out your time and joining this dialogue. Thank you so much.